Okay. Happy Monday, y'all. First, before we begin, can I have everybody move up a little bit, please? Thank you. Okay, let's try this again. Good evening, Huddle. Yes, happy Monday. It's a pleasure to be back with you guys at Huddle. Happy to see my familiar faces and my non-familiar faces. Y'all know at Huddle, we always come through with the topics, but before we get into that, we'll have our prayer and scripture from Mr. Mo Bars. Clap it up for him, y'all.
Good evening, Huddle. This evening's scripture is Isaiah 54, 9 through 17. To me, this is like the days of Noah, when I swore that the waters of Noah would never again cover the earth. So now I have sworn not to be angry with you, never to rebuke you again. Though the mountains be shaken and the hills be removed, yet my unfailing love for you will not be shaken, nor my covenant of peace be removed, says the Lord, who has compassion on you. Afflicted city, lashed by storms and not comforted, I will rebuild you with stones of turquoise, your foundations with lapis lazuli. I will make your belittlements of rubies, your gates of sparkling jewels, and all your walls of precious stones. All your children will be taught by the Lord, and great will be in their peace. In righteousness you would be established. Tyranny will be far from you. You will have nothing to fear. Terror will be far removed. It will not come near you. If anyone does attack you, it will flame. It will not be my doing. Whoever attacks you will surrender to you. See, it is I who created the blacksmith, who fans the coals into flame and forges a weapon fit for its work. And it is I who have created the destroyer to wreak havoc. No weapon formed against you will prevail, and you will refute every tongue that accuses you. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and this is the vindication from me, declares the Lord. Everyone, please bow your heads and close your eyes for prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us here to the House of Justice for another evening of Huddle. Let everything that we speak on today be of positive information and be able to take with us outside of these doors to anyone we come in contact with. Bless the food, the hands that prepared them. Bless these did you knows and these scriptures for the hands that pulled them up and created them. And Lord Father God, we just pray for your safety and enlightenment throughout this tonight's huddle. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Mo. So now we have our action alerts from our co-founder and membership national director, Ms. Dominique Sharpton.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. As many of you know, NAN has been on the move. We've been having a hot summer, and we're getting ready for the march. August 26th, we'll be in Washington, D.C. But also there are a lot of other things, other issues, other situations and things happening across the country. We want to make sure that our members and our supporters and those who are on the ground working towards justice and equality for all who deserve are also in tune and in the know of what's going on and how NAN feels about it. So check out this past week's action alerts. As Giselle say, we release action alerts every Friday for our members and supporters via our website. This week, corporate America, be prepared for a backlash. Reverend Sharpton released a powerful statement putting corporate America on notice this week. He said, we will not buy from or support companies that don't hire or do business with us. He issued this warning after Republican attorneys general submitted a letter to Fortune 5 and 100 companies pressuring them against the use of any race-based personnel decisions. Any Fortune 100 company that withdraws from its diversity commitments on employment, contracts, or other personnel decisions will face a backlash when we withdraw our consumer dollars. Reverend Sharpton said, "I predicted this exact kind of thing would happen the day that the Supreme Court took its first major hack at affirmative action. And although we expected this kind of move, it doesn't make it any less appalling or potentially devastating." So as we know, things have been happening. The Supreme Court took a major stance against, of course, affirmative action, and there's the domino effect that's happening. So now, Fortune 100 companies saying, well, race isn't a factor anymore, so we don't have to utilize race in determining if an individual is qualified for employment or to do business with, contracting, and other things that Fortune 100 companies do. And so with that said, it's very dangerous. It's a slippery slope, especially for people of color, and it's also a slippery slope for those who are, in government, those who are legislators, those who are, charting the path forward, potentially, for us to have better lives and better opportunities and resources. And so with that said, it's important that people like Reverend Sharpton and Nan as advocates are on the ground really raising these issues, because if they go unnoticed or if they go unactivated or unchallenged, people are just going to continue doing what they want to do. So, National Action Network previously announced that it would co-lead a report that tracked which companies lived up to their promises on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and we're actually working on that report now. And those corporations who also pledged to diversify and rectify their businesses cannot now change course because of the pressure from the GOP attorneys general. So we're getting that report together, and we're set to release it. It's going to go internationally, and it's going to put all of the country on notice as to where we stand with these corporations and these Fortune 100 companies and what they're doing on diversity. We also had to say goodbye to Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s last living sibling. Reverend Sharpton was supposed to travel to Atlanta this past week, but Christine King Ferris, Martin Luther King Jr.'s last sibling, has passed away. She was the eldest sister of Dr. King. She was a civil rights activist herself, and she left an indelible mark on society. She was a founding board member and former vice chair and treasurer of the King Center. She taught at Spelman College for nearly 50 years, and she was an ardent advocate for literacy, education, and equality. She was also the longest serving member of the historic Ebenezer Baptist Church. As I said, we're preparing for Washington, D.C. Many of you know Martin Luther King III, Andrea Waters King, and National Action Network, Reverend Sharpton, are gearing up for the March on Washington, August 26th. We have over 50 partners, community organizers, and organizations that have aligned and joined the March on Washington, the 60th anniversary. It's a continuation, not a commemoration. We want all of you to join us. These issues are important to us, and if we are not really standing on the forefront together, really advocating for these issues, we won't see the justice that we deserve. So I hope y'all are all gearing up and prepared to go with us to Washington, D.C. on August 26th. We're going to talk a little bit about also Jesse Jackson's retirement this past week. Reverend Jesse Jackson, many of you know. Who's Reverend Jesse Jackson, young lady? Who's Reverend Jesse Jackson, Usman? Speak up a little, speak up. Jesse Jackson is a civil rights leader. He has been monumental, I would say, to a lot of making sure that a lot of the issues that affect Black and brown people, I would say in the past 50 years, he's been advocating for and making sure that these issues come to the forefront. He had a very, very, very monumental presidential campaign. I want y'all to understand, young people, to look it up, research Jesse Jackson's presidential campaign. Because if Jesse Jackson didn't run, we would not have seen President Obama become the first Black president of the United States. Jesse Jackson was pivotal in making sure that issues such as education inequality, such as corporate inequality. There's so many things that he has pushed forward on the agenda for Black and brown people, for people, legislators and people to pay attention to. And Jesse Jackson was pivotal in that. I'm just going to read a little bit more about him. But he was the founder of Rainbow Push Coalition. And in the spirit of Dr. Martin Luther King, he was actually there when Martin Luther King Jr. was shot and killed. He was one of the youngest activists that was in Martin Luther King's entourage and was one of his students and was actually there when Dr. Martin Luther King was killed, and Young people, I think you need to research it. I don't want to go on and on about it, but I think that we need to pay homage and honor to the Reverend Dr. Jesse Lewis Jackson Sr. Because of the fact that he was Reverend Sharpton's mentor, and he was responsible for a lot of the things that we see, a lot of the progresses we have, and the things that we have is because people and leaders like Jesse Jackson stood up for us when it wasn't popular, stood up for us when a lot of people were turning against us in terms of what we need to do in terms of policy and things that we needed to fight for. Jesse Jackson stood in the gap. So it is, to me, monumental to see a civil rights leader actually retire. I don't think we've ever probably seen this happen. Many of our civil rights leaders were actually killed and taken away from us. And so this is the first time I think we've actually seen a civil rights leader step away and say, I'm going to move on to my next chapter while I'm still living. And for us to be able to give them their flowers, I think it's a monumental in history. I think we need to really take home on this moment, this very important moment as it is for us in our work. And so congratulations to Reverend Jesse Jackson. We appreciate him for all the work he's done. We stand on his shoulders, and we're going to continue the work that he and so many others really worked really hard to get us to where we are. So a round of applause to Reverend Jesse Jackson. Reverend Sharpton said that his resignation is the pivoting of one of the most productive, prophetic, and dominant figures in the struggle for social justice in American history. He said that I and others who were a dozen years or so younger than him have gone on to build and lead national organizations in the general tradition that he started after being mentored by Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Therefore, we don't think of him retiring, but rather that he has planted and nurtured the seeds that are growing beyond his own organization. Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson, we love you and we honor you, and thank you for your sacrifice, your commitment, and for your work.
Thank you, Damo, dropping knowledge on us as always. So next we will go into our Black History Fact with the one and only Miss Patrice Perry. Clap it up.
Thank you, Giselle. Hello, Huddle family. So today, Black History Fact goes to our beloved and departed brother, Eric Garner. The choking death of Eric Garner on video in 2014 helped bring the debate on interactions between white police officers and unarmed African Americans to the national forefront. Eric Garner was born on September 15, 1970 in New York City. Garner grew to 6 feet 3 inches tall and weighed 350 pounds. He worked as a mechanic and then in the city's department for several years before health problems, including asthma, sleep apnea, and complications from diabetes, forced him to quit. He had 6 children, ranging in age from 18 years to 3 months, and was with his wife Esau for over 20 years. On July 17, 2014, Garner reportedly broke up a fight on a busy street in Staten Island neighborhood of Tompkins Square. Upon arrival at the scene, New York Police Department officers confronted Garner and accused him of illegally selling individual cigarettes, or considered loosies. A passerby recorded Garner, who had filed a 2007 harassment complaint against the NYPD in federal court, responding, "I'm tired of this. This stops today." Several officers now surrounded the unarmed Garner, and one of them, Daniel Pantaleo, who was white, placed Garner in a chokehold and took him to the ground. With Pantaleo's arm around his neck, Garner could be heard repeatedly gasping his last words, "I can't breathe." A short time later, 43-year-old Eric Garner was pronounced dead at Richmond University Hospital. Although police argued Garner was resisting arrest, the chokehold used by Officer Pantaleo had been cited as a dangerous maneuver by the NYPD and officially banned in 1993. On August 1st, 2014, the city medical examiner classified Garner's death as a homicide, and a grand jury was convened on August 19th to hear possible charges against the officers involved. On August 23rd, over 1,000 protesters demanded peacefully near the site where Gardner died. As November 2014 came to a close, a grand jury decision in the Gardner case was imminent. Meanwhile, another unarmed black man, 28-year-old Akai Gurley, had been mistakenly shot and killed by an NYPD officer on November 20th in the darkened stairwell of the Brooklyn Housing Project, and officials in Ferguson, Missouri, declined to charge an officer there in the shooting death of yet another unarmed African-American, 18-year-old Michael Brown. In response, thousands of protesters rallied in New York City on November 25th, blocking traffic on busy streets, bridges, and tunnels. On December 3rd, the grand jury declined to bring criminal charges against Pantaleo. In the aftermath of Eric Garner's death and the grand jury's decisions, "I Can't Breathe" became a massive topic on social media and a rallying cry among protesters across the country. During warm-ups before a December 8, 2015 NBA game in Brooklyn between the Brooklyn Nets and the Cleveland Cavaliers, players on both teams, including Cleveland superstar LeBron James, wore "I Can't Breathe" shirts. Other NBA stars such as Derrick Rose of Chicago Bulls, Kobe Bryant of the Los Angeles Lakers also wore the shirt. These high-profile demonstrations were publicly endorsed by then-President Barack Obama. So as we know, our Black History fact is for our fallen brother, Eric Garner, and his daughter is part of our huddle. So just to end this Black History report, we'll just do a quick moment of silence. Thank you. May you rest in peace and continue to pray for the family.
Thank you, Patrice. And like she said, please keep Eric Garner's family in your minds. We love you, Emerald. Just wanted to say that. We love you. So, I'm going to now grill everybody in here. Let me stop. But is everybody an updated member for the year of 2023? Let's go. Okay, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Have y'all renewed? Y'all renewed your membership, right? I ain't gotta ask y'all that. Y'all renewed it. If not, though, this applies to you as well as those who are not members. The best way to stay informed and in the action is to become a member of NAN. Stay informed about NAN events close to where you live. Text Justice followed by your state to 59769. Again, text Justice followed by your state to 59769. And also, a very huge reminder to join us at the Saturday Action Rally every Saturday at 9 a.m. So, I would like to open the floor up to good news, but before I open the floor up, I would like to say congratulations to one of our exonerated 5, Mr. Yusuf Salam, for winning the Harlem City Council primary race. Yes, congratulations. We love you, Yusuf Salam. You're always welcome. So now I would like to open the floor up to any good news. I know y'all got a good news. Come on, come up, come up. Yes, I have good news as well. I am newly graduated, finally done. Whew. It's been a sweat, but y'all have me for the rest of the year until hopefully January of next year, and then I'll be off to the Navy. I can't swim, so hopefully they teach me how to swim. Yes, but you can come up. And I know y'all got some good news. Don't leave me hanging. I know you got good news too. I see it.
How's everybody doing? I just wanted to say it's a picture of Reverend Jackson with Reverend L. Sharpton right there with the little gold frame around it. So, yeah. He was one of the, Reverend Jackson was one of the greatest preachers ever. And I call Reverend L. Sharpton modern day Martin Luther King. So,
Okay, that's a great compliment. Shoot. No other good news? Y'all gonna make me sad.
Great to see you, my sister. Okay, my good news is that I listen to Spirit, and Spirit talks to me very, very clearly. I love it. And this morning, I got something I never even imagined before, so I got to share it to you. So when it comes to relationships, especially political, business relationships, most of the time people are either coming from transactional based relationships, interactions, or they're coming from relationship based, like, hey, you my homie, or whatever. But I found out that there's actually 5 different transactional actions when it comes to business and relationships. One is transactional, one is relationship, but another one is performance based. You need to do what you're gonna do. Then another one is investment based, meaning you need to like be able to make sure things grow. And then the 5th one is what the heck is it? I'm sorry, I got to look at my phone. I got my mind blown. I'm like, I never heard this before. And I see this being something that one day I'm going to be a business consultant. I'm going to use this in business. Daggone it. So give me a couple seconds. Sorry. I forgot because I just got it today. Okay, here we go. Over here. Wait a minute. Sorry. All right. So yes. So transactional, relationship-based, performance-based, financial-based, and legal-based. Meaning you better do what I say by the law. And what happens? The reason why this is so important, and I'm so excited about it, like it's good news for me, is that if you ever seen that meme on Facebook or whatever, where it says one person's like, "Hey, that's a 6." No, that's a 9. That's what happens when people are talking 2 different cultures, 2 different languages. So for me, this is good news because I'm going to learn how to put it together and then learn how to deliver it, and I'm excited. I'm complete.
Okay. Finally. I was waiting for the good news part about it. Okay. Emerald, is that you coming up? Oh, girl.
Hello. I just want to say hi and congratulations to Giselle for graduating. Thank you. EJ and Alyssa also graduated. Thank you. Alyssa actually got into a great school. She's on honor roll, so she had to take a test to get into the school. So she got in. She's going to be going to culinary arts school. So next time you see her, tell her to make you some dinner. But yeah, that's about it. And I'll see you guys at the march because we riding the bus. So I better see all of y'all.
We riding the bus, y'all. Listen, we got to keep y'all in tune. Let's go. August, y'all. Keep that in your minds. So if that's it for good news, I would like to go in with our Did You Know segments, because you may not have known. So we're going to start it off with our founder, Miss Ashley Sharpton. Let's go.
Hello. Sorry, we got it quickly today. Sorry, 1 second. Papers are out of order. Anybody know who Sandra Bland is? Nobody here knows who Sandra Bland is? Dominique? There you go. That's all right. Anybody else want to add to that? It's about right. Okay, let's all say her name together. Say her name. Sandra Bland. Say her name. Okay. So this past Thursday marked the 8th anniversary of the death of Sandra Bland, who was in police custody when she died following a questionable traffic stop that turned violent by the arresting officer in Texas in 2015. The hashtag Say Her Name was trending on social media amid commemorations of Bland's life and legacy. Bland's birthday came one day after that of Trayvon Martin, who would have turned 30 years old on Monday. Bland's birthday also coincides with the 10-year mark since vigilante killer George Zimmerman was acquitted in Martin's death. He killed Trayvon Martin, for those who don't know, a moment that sparked the Black Lives Matter movement. Activists have worked hard to make sure the deaths of Bland and Martin were not in vain, as their names remain alive and more relevant than ever, while police brutality and vigilante violence alike remain societal scourges by killing Black lives with seeming impunity. Bland was arrested during the kind of pretextual traffic stop that ended up killing Tyree Nichols in Memphis earlier this year. We all know who Tyree Nichols is, right? All right. That was when the 28-year-old was driving from her native Illinois to begin a new job at Prairie View A&M University when she was pulled over for a minor moving violation. What should have been a routine ticketing experience quickly devolved into brutality when State Trooper Brian Encinia failed to de-escalate the encounter, which resulted in Bland being charged with assault. Dashcam video from Encinia's cruiser suggested he was the aggressor. 3 days later, on July 13th, 2015, Bland's body was found hanging from her jail cell, where she had been remanded because of an inability to afford a $5,000 bond. I'll say that again. 3 days later, on July 13, 2015, Bland's body was found hanging from her jail cell, where she had been remanded because of an inability to afford a $5,000 bond. It's crazy. Even though Bland's death was ruled a suicide, suspicion of officers in the Waller County Jail has lingered as no one has ever been held accountable to this day. Bland's death took place amid a spate of controversial police-involved deaths of unarmed Black people, thrusting her name onto a growing list of which no one wants to be on. Since Bland's death, her legacy has grown immeasurably. Notably, Texas has reformed its laws surrounding protocol during traffic stops. In 2017, Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed the Sandra Bland Act into law. Let's clap that up, which sets new mandates for county jails to divert people with mental health and substance abuse issues toward treatment and requires that independent law enforcement agencies investigate jail deaths. Commission on Jail Standards were notified of the in-custody death of Michael Reen Johnson, two groups that prior to the Sandra Bland Act being enacted may not have been told promptly or at all about the incident. Bland's name also lives on with the Sandra Bland Center for Racial Justice in Austin, Texas. When it opened in 2021, Bland's mother explained what the organization wanted to accomplish. We're trying to really assist families with being whole again, so we're doing scholarships, and we prominently include Bland. Not all has been positive since Bland's death. The justice being demanded by her family since day one has been elusive. To me, it's been not at all. Her family has noted amid the national protests against police violence and demands for racial justice and equality that law enforcement is still killing Black people. I'm angry, Shantae Needham told ABC News in 2020, I'm angry that my sister passed 5 years ago and they are still killing us. I'm angry. That was 2020 and it's 3 years later and they're still killing us. So we just wanted to make sure you all know who Sandra Bland is, say her name, remember her legacy, and fight on in that name. Thank you.
Thank you, Ash. So now our second Did You Know is going to be done by our very own National Field Director, Mr. Usman.
Good evening, y'all. How y'all doing? Student loan debt. Over 800,000 student loan borrowers are getting their debt wiped out in the coming months. Here's what other borrowers should know if they want that relief. Let's clap that up, please. The Education Department announced $39 billion in debt relief for over 800,000 borrowers. It is a result of a one-time account adjustment for income-driven repayment plans. More borrowers can still get relief once the threshold is met. On Friday, President Joe Biden's Education Department announced that over 800,000 student loan borrowers will receive $39 billion in debt relief in the coming months, thanks to a one-time adjustment. This relief is automatic, and the department said it will send emails to eligible borrowers who have accumulated the equivalent for either 20 or 25 years of qualifying months, according to the press release. Specifically, borrowers who will receive the first batch of notices have direct federal loans or loans in the Federal Family Education Loan Program held by the Education Department, who have reached the necessary threshold for forgiveness, including payments during deferment or forbearance, and according to the Federal Student Aid, federal borrowers who are not currently enrolled in an income-driven repayment plan can still benefit from this adjustment as long as they have made at least 20 years of qualifying payments. The account adjustment only applies to direct federal loans and FFFEL loans held by the Education Department. If borrowers have commercially held student loans, they need to apply for a direct consolidation loan by the end of 2023 to benefit from the adjustment. How long borrowers need to make payments before relief. This is the repayment timeline for eligible loans. Parent Plus loans, 25 years or 300 months of payment. Undergraduate loans, 20 years. Graduate loans enrolled in the pay repayment plan, 20 years. Graduate loans that's not enrolled in the pay repayment plan is 25 years. If a borrower reaches the qualifying payments before August 1st, 2023, the Education Department said it expects their loans will be discharged before student loan payments resume in October. If a borrower reaches their qualifying payments on or after August 1st, the department said, you will likely have to start making payments after the payment pause ends, but don't worry, you'll get a refund for any payments beyond the number you need for forgiveness. You can also choose to enter forbearance until your forgiveness is processed, the department said. But if you enter forbearance and you did not reach the threshold of 20 or 25 years worth of payments, you won't get credit for the period of forbearance and will need to make additional eligible payments to reach forgiveness. How to get a refund if a borrower overpays. Once a borrower reaches the repayment threshold, they automatically qualify for forgiveness. Additional payments made on loans after qualifying for relief will be refunded to whichever of the following dates is most recent. The date the borrower reached the number of required payments, the date when the Education Department acquired your loan, or the disbursement date for a consolidated loan. Borrowers' student loan services will notify them when their loans are forgiven, and they will get refunds in the same method the borrowers use to make payments. It typically takes 2 months or less to refund process. So once again, I want to congratulate our president and his education department for doing this. While some of us are only 20 and 25 years old in here and it doesn't apply to us, we see that, this is trending in the right way. So we'll continue to stand behind them and continue to beg them and continue to hold them accountable to do the right thing. So no justice, no peace.
Yeah.
Want to hurry up?
You're still standing there. So for our third Did You Know, I would like to call up Miss Patrice to give y'all some insight about her article. Clap it up for Patrice, y'all.
Hello again, Huddle family. So let's talk about this Did You Know, which I'm sure you've heard about. New York City officials address holiday weekend gun violence in the Bronx. In a new push to crack down on gun violence across New York City, officials came together in the Bronx to discuss the recent surge in shootings. Even though shootings up through the start of July are down 30% in the Bronx, it has been a violent start to the month. Since Friday, there have been 16 shootings with 25 people hit by gunfire. Among those victims was an 18-year-old drill rapper who was killed after the 4th of July celebrations, a 5-year-old girl who was shot while in a car at a vigil for another shooting victim. Elected officials and community leaders met Thursday morning to send a couple of messages. There are options for young people like summer programs, jobs, and other programs to engage and avoid conflict that have led to violence. The other message is such behavior will not be tolerated. This is a call to action. We will not accept the violence that we've seen from the past weekends in our borough. It is unacceptable and a message to those out here that are armed with illegal and unlicensed handguns that engage in violence, that go to barbecues and social clubs and shoot and injure and kill our people. We are coming for you, said Bronx Borough President Vanessa Gibson. You do not define who we are as New Yorkers and as Bronxnites. There are more of us than there are of you. We will not allow the violent individuals to define who we are. Our borough deserves better. Our city deserves better. The district attorney said they will prosecute these crimes and violence to the fullest. NYPD said despite those 16 shootings, they have made 15 arrests and 17 guns were taken off the streets. In addition, NYPD leaders said at their monthly crime statistics briefing Thursday afternoon, the number of shootings in New York decreased in each of the last 13 weeks. For the first half of 2023, shootings are down 25% compared to the same period a year ago. Since last Friday, 25 people were impacted by gun violence just in the Bronx alone. Again, a 5-year-old who was shot in the back seat of a car. So far in 2023, nearly 200 fewer people have been shot in the nation's largest city compared to the first months of 2022. There are still too many guns on the streets, too many criminals willing to carry them, and too many of them pulling the trigger, said Caban. Crime overall dropped slightly last month compared to the same month a year ago. There were fewer homicides, rapes, robberies, and burglaries. Hate crimes were down 18%. June saw increases in grand larceny, auto felony assault, and subway crime also increased. So I know that we talk about this a lot here at the Huddle, and we talk about all of the groups that have been funded. But I have a question for you. Many groups were funded, and more recently they announced money that they were giving out, I believe it was in the millions, to the groups to prevent violence on the street. I just have a few to come up and tell me, have you seen them in your neighborhoods? Have you seen programs that they've put together in your neighborhoods? Just tell me a little bit, because there's a lot of them out here. I see them in a lot of hot new cars. I see them in a lot of drop tops. But are they in your neighborhoods telling the young people how to stop violence? School ended the end of June, right? Just want to know. Come up and let us know what you think.
I know of the program called SAVE, which is in my neighborhood, and we have meetings in my neighborhood monthly, and I've never seen them come this year. Last year, I saw them come, and we participated in the June Gun Awareness Month. Everybody had the orange shirts, but I didn't see that this year. I didn't even see that push for this year, to be honest. It wasn't in my neighborhood, but SAVE is still there, though. At least the awning is there, okay? Okay, the awning is there, but I don't know if the request for the funding was last year and not this year. You know what I mean? Because, we had a block party and everything last year, so I don't know what's going on this year. It's hot, but there was flyers on the laundromat and everything last year. This year, I didn't see it.
That says a lot. Anyone else want to give their thoughts? Maybe I missed it. Maybe they have been in your neighborhood and you say, oh, Patrice, they're under the awning over there. Or, like she said, the awnings are up. But what are y'all doing? Where are you? School ended the end of June. Especially right here. It's a bus stop right here. Kids are at this bus stop all the time. Whether school is in or school is out. I haven't seen anybody out here giving a flyer of how you can sign up for jobs, right? or where you can go to help become an intern somewhere or come intern with them. I haven't seen them, but like the sis just said, you've seen them post about block parties, and you'll see the balloons, and come on in, they'll give you a hot dog and hamburger. But what are they giving you to help you save your life? To help make sure that the violence is off the street. Do y'all know all of these shootings, all of the shooters were under the age of 18? At 18-year-old, you get up, come outside, dress up, put on the latest Jordans, right? That's what y'all wearing? The 18-year-olds and stuff? Jordans. Kanye, I don't know if y'all wearing them anymore. But you come outside to just start shooting up. But you're a scared shooter because you're shooting on scooters. Oh, guns down, life up. Look at that. Come on up and tell us what y'all are doing and telling about the young people. I know you right on the spot, but y'all always outside. We used to be outside. We was outside with y'all a couple of events. Come on, Christian. Come on, y'all. Show them some love. Guns down, life up. They do a lot of work in these streets. We've done a lot of stuff with them. Let us know what you're doing now to help us, or tell us some ways we can help you guys. Hey, Christian. How you doing? I know.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I do have to agree with what Patrice said about organizations not being out there. The mayor has introduced money that is over $200 million, and the money that is being used is not being fully allocated correctly.
Come on.
Out of the $200 million that are being given, it is given to organizations that are not doing the work. And there are some of them that are doing work that are not receiving the funding. As you see, we're dealing with a lot of issues in the Bronx. And the Bronx, the mayor, he had this, what did he call it? The roundtable discussions that he went to only 6 locations out of all of New York City. And out of every place that he went to 4 places in the Bronx and 2 or 3 places in Brooklyn. And the reason why is because those are the heaviest hit neighborhoods. Yet, those are the neighborhoods where we see the least amount of funding. We have Project Pivot, which, has, I think, 155 schools, and they're going over to 200 schools, and they're having organizations come in, yet we're still not seeing the funding allocated. So when you said that the awning is still there, but they're not there, I didn't want to start laughing, but it is true. And it's actually a really sad thing that the people that are supposed to be preventing violence in our neighborhood would rather have Mercedes-Benz and would rather have orange Lamborghinis. I'm not going to say exactly which organization that is, but there are organizations that have orange Lamborghinis that are using the money that other organizations should have. As a result, I know, they say, oh, we need this to get people to come, but nobody is coming. They have empty buildings, they have big, beautiful buildings and nice trucks, and all of them are empty. And I do want to say, the last thing I want to say is that for Gun Violence Awareness Month, we started in June right here in Harlem. This year was in Harlem. We started in Harlem. We did the tour around the city, yet nothing came out of it. We still see the same exact things happening every day. And now I have to speak for Guns Down, Life Up. We have all been drained, physically, emotionally, mentally, just drained. In the hospital alone, and now we're in the hospital, we see shootings every single day. Before I came here, we were dealing with a mother that on Saturday or Sunday, her son was killed. And he was shot in an area that has not seen, Cortlandt houses in that area has not had a shooting in the last year. And that is because Guns Down, Life Up has been on the front lines in the community mediating and doing conflict resolution. However, for some reason, the shooting happened. Yet we were the only organization, and let me just say this, that is technically not our catchment area.
Wow, you see?
That is not our area. The area that we do, that we are in, which is our catchment area, has still not seen a lot of violence, but that's not our catchment. What CMS has in mind is that unless we are in a certain catchment area, we cannot go out and do what we really need to do. Yet gun violence is not a catchment issue, it is a city issue. And it is affecting and disproportionately affecting young people. And I really don't think that legislators are really doing what they have to do, but then also the organizations. I stood with Vanessa Gibson and Darcel Clark last Thursday, well, the 2 Thursdays ago after the violence, and it was just extraordinary to see how all these people can come together, yet nothing is being done after that. So that is the only thing I really wanted to say. But I agree with you about the awnings. I agree with you about the trucks and the cars, because they're nice and beautiful, yet nothing is being done with them.
What did he say? Yeah. Yeah, right before Mo comes up.
Well, you know, I always say that showing up is always the best. I think that there really is a money problem. The same organizations are receiving the same amount of funding and more. A lot of them are receiving way more funding, and they're not in the areas that are being affected. This area right here in Harlem, I was born and raised in the Bronx. Well, I was born in Harlem, raised in both Harlem and the Bronx, and I see how gun violence is affecting both of these issues. So I say that the mayor should be informed, the governor should be informed. A lot of people that are funding, because you know, you have CMS funding, you have SNUG funding, and then now there's even federal money that is being allocated, and because these organizations look so big and beautiful, that's why they're getting all the money, yet they don't see that there are other people that are doing the work that are drained. I literally see people in the Bronx every day tirelessly drained. Maria, James, all of them, just tired. And we have a staff of 8 people, yet we deal with, because we're in the hospital, we deal with over 100 people. In a week, there was about, in the whole month of May of this year, just at Lincoln Hospital, I believe there were over 100 shootings that came. And we only have a staff of hospital responders, 3 hospital responders, and we only have a staff of 10, no more than 10 people. Yet there are other organizations that have 25, 30 people in a building just like this, nice, glamorous, and beautiful, yet you guys are doing the work. Even though you're a civil rights organization, public safety is still the forefront of what NAN stands for. So, you know, I think that that's really a thing that needs to be talked about, is where's the money going, why is the money not going correctly, and how do organizations that are really doing the work get the money, because there are organizations that really need it. And Project Pivot is something that needs to be used more for organizations that are actually doing the work.
Thank you.
I mean, I also want to add to what, you know, Christian just said, you know, put him on the spot, and, you know, he delivered. Some of the problems that's going on is a lot of the organizations that are actually doing the work don't have the technical know-how to know where the money is. So while the big organizations and the big CMS groups that we see, they know how to write the grants, they know how to ask for the funding and things of that nature. But now that we have a gun violence czar, I believe that we need the gun violence czar to institute trainings, to get out in all of the communities and all of the gun violence groups and teach them, okay, this is how we do it and this is how we not do it. Like, this wasn't planned, but I got a Cities United shirt on. There are gun violence, that was a gun violence fellowship that I was a part of, and they teach young people, they teach organizations, they gather everybody from around the nation and teach them the technical know-how, how to marry it with the everyday work. Because a lot of us, we know what gun violence feels like. We've been through it more than enough, but we don't know how to put that, like move power and get legislation and things of that nature. And a lot of these organizations have connections with our top government officials. So yes, I'll call them. Yup, I see you. You get this money and do what it is. But sometimes we need to rethink how we see it and reimagine how we see public safety. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Well said, gentlemen. Mo?
I never want to offend, you know, anybody in the civil rights movement, whichever your expertise is at, whether it's curing gun violence, protests, whatever. But I really don't. None of the cure violence organizations really have my respect, me personally, because I think they all pump faking. I really think none of them is really doing nothing really effective at all. Trust me, I know. You got certain organizations. Now let's just talk about the Cure Violence. Just the organizations that focus on trying to stop the violence. So, one of the things they say is one of the things that you should is have people that's a part of the organization that were once in the streets, that are no longer in the streets, but still have that respect. I see organizations that are hiring kids that's not even from the neighborhood, putting them in uniforms and coats and just walking billboards. And none of them kids can stop nothing if anything went down. Nobody respects them, nobody knows them. They're not even from the neighborhood. They don't know nobody from the neighborhood but the person that put the uniform on them. Now, when it comes to the money, people are clearly not being audited. Their money is not being counted. They getting the money and they splurging. The whole point of getting the money is to use the money as an incentive to curb the kid from doing what they're doing out there and doing something else. We gotta meet them where they at. These chairs should be full of the shooters. The ones that are gonna shoot and kill and do it, they should be sitting here right now next to the young people that are on the right path. But how do we get them in here? We can't get them in here off of just talking, man. Back in the day, that's not working. These kids is a different type of dangerous. Like, it's not the same. They a different type of demon. They refer to themselves as demons. They're out here wilding. You know what I'm saying? So you have to, and then there's another thing of, it seems like those organizations that focus on, cure violence, it seems like they're trying to one-up each other instead of all of them coming together and having one curriculum. If they all came together and sat down in the room and came up with one blueprint, the object is get the kids off the street and stop the violence. That's it. That's the point. Stop the violence. Everybody got numbers. Every time somebody get killed, right in the next segment, but crime is down 20-something%. Like, I don't know why they do that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. And like somebody said, the money is going to the people who have seniority. The organization that's bigger and already known. Like you said, you see cars, you see big RVs parked in gas stations for what? Sprinters, people putting their kids through college that have nothing to do with the organization. Like, they need to be audited. I don't understand how they don't have like a IRS for cure violence and to watch the money and see where it's going. Like, that money, you can find the money. You can find the paper trail. You know where it's going. And those people should be penalized, either be suspended or never get any money again, or just micromanaged on whatever they're doing. Like, they do it for police. You got police officers have whatever the name of the people that watch crooked cops, Right, you know what I'm saying? It should be the same way for organizations that receive, and I'm talking about these people are getting M's. They're getting millions of dollars. They're not getting just 10, they're getting M's. So I really feel like, and we need to call them out. I think sometimes we be on eggshells because we don't want to look like we're fighting the people that we're on the side with. But we have to pull people's card. It's getting crazy. Like, every time they come around with this money and the real organizations that got real ideas that's really effective, we don't see nothing. We breaking our necks and struggling and wonder why we can't get the money. And we know so many people at the top. Everybody knows somebody, but nobody's sending nothing our way. So what are we going to do? Are we going to sit in here tight-lipped all day, or are we going to say something? We got to get a little more controversial in a good way, in a respectful way. We gotta start talking. We gotta start opening our mouths, even if it makes another organization uncomfortable. We gotta pull a card. So that's all I gotta say. We gotta do something, bro.
Well said, well said.
Yo, you the reason why I came up here in the first place, Joe. Just saying. Okay. So has anybody ever heard of this group from back in the day called the Guardian Angels? I was in junior high school with the guy who started it, Curtis Slewa. What I'm thinking is maybe we need to talk to him, because he was protecting everybody from the 7 different street gangs in the 70s, the Black Spades, the Ghetto Brothers, 7 Crowns, 7 Immortals. Oh my God, excuse me? Yep, all that. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that we need to have somebody that knows how to deal with that already. He's got decades of experience dealing with that. He created the Guardian Angel and he ran it. So he ran for president. I mean, not for president, for mayor, and failed. But I'm just saying that he knows something. Maybe we can have him at least be a consultant or a resource to be able to support making this happen. So that's what I'm present to, and that's all I got.
I mean, it's the personal opinion of every individual that gets up here, not of the organization. Just remember that.
Okay. Hi. God bless you. I'm so glad we're here together. I've been here long enough to have seen many people be on this platform to give us information. The violence czar, I don't know his proper title, he's been here. He's been here. Guns Down, Life Up, they've been here. Camp Life, the lady with the orange, Life Camp, she's been here. Okay, so a suggestion that I'm going to make is after the march, because that's priority, is to invite every so-called community-based gun violence prevention organization to come here with the czar. With the czar. Yeah. So, and they've been here before, so we should expect them to accept the invitation, and then we'll get some direct answers, and they'll hear direct suggestions to really be performing at the highest level. So let's do that after the march.
Well, thank you. Thank you for all of your thoughts. Word, that was a great idea. And they've all been through these doors, like we said. Every last elected official, when they want to get elected, they come to NAN. When they get elected, they come and say thank you, and then we don't see them. The czar was up here that first week he was appointed. Have y'all seen him? Anywhere? By the train, by the bus, by the orange life camp, by the drop top street corner. Y'all seen him? I'm just wondering. Just putting it out there. He came up here on this stage, and he said he knows about what's happening, and he was in the streets, out of the streets, back in the streets, out of the streets again, right? He sat right up here on this stage under this NAN symbol and said that he was going to help with violence. All we're saying is, where are you, brother? You were here. We haven't seen you in months. But I want you guys, and that was a good thing what Mo said. We do need to pull a report card after the march, have them come in here, and then we go down the line and say, now, what do you grade your organization on gun violence? Do you give yourself an A, a B, a C, a D, or NA, not applicable because you haven't done nothing? So we want to see, we're going to call you out to the rug. Gun violence is not going to stop. We just pray for our young people. Summer is here. It literally just started. And look how many shootings we've had already. And all of the shooters are under 18. So are the streets just telling young people to go do it because they'll do less time? We got to figure out why is it that they're under 18 and feel the need to just go out and shoot. And shooting scared because you're on scooters. And you're hoping to dodge and duck the traffic. But they see you. Cameras are everywhere. So remind you that we're going to explore that word. After the march, call them in. And maybe we should give them a grade and tell them what we think their grade is and maybe tell them to prove why they shouldn't have that grade. But again, we are the National Action Network, and that is my Did You Know for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrice. That was a lot to take in, but that was amazing. I loved all the responses. Very smart, intelligent people in here. So now, the last Did You Know, done by yours truly. Don't play games. Crump family asked for a video of Jarvion Hudspeth's, hope I'm saying that correctly, death from SCSO. Civil rights and personal injury attorney Ben Crump, an increasingly present figure in Memphis, pushed for an explanation from the Shelby County Sheriff's Office regarding the fatal shooting of Jarvion Hudspeth, the 21-year-old who was killed during the course of a June 24th traffic stop. Sounds similar, right? To Sandra Bland, what Ashley was just talking about. In more than 2 weeks since Hudspeth's death, the family has not learned any additional information. According to Hudspeth's mother, Charlotte Haggett, few details have been released publicly. Haggett, along with family members, community activist, and state representative Antonio Parkinson, appeared alongside Crump Monday and delivered remarks from the Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church. For now, Hudspeth's family only knows what they have gathered from witnesses and news reports. They know Hudspeth was pulled over, and they know a SCSO deputy shot Hudspeth at some point during the traffic stop. The unnamed deputy was rushed to the hospital in critical condition after being dragged some 100 yards, Shelby County Sheriff Floyd Bonner said. Haggett learned of her son's death, she said, only after he was missing for over 24 hours, when she initially contacted authorities. SCSO said a deputy would be out to her residence to take a missing persons report. The deputy never came. Hours later, she said someone called and simply stated he was dead. Sorry, I'll say that again. Hours later, she said someone called and simply stated he was dead following an accident. He was in an accident and didn't make it, Haggett said. That was the most I got. Haggett said she has not heard from SCSO since. Crump, who also represents the families of Tyree Nichols and Jershawn Freeman, drew parallels between Nichols and Hudspeth's deaths during his remarks, namely how the mothers of both men had to push for transparency and accountability. But a key difference, Crump said, is the speed of which a fuller picture of Nichols' death developed and the treatment of the officers in the aftermath. The 5 officers charged with Nichols' death, Crump said, were black. The deputy that allegedly shot Hudspeth is white. Don't play games with this family, Crump said. Release the video. We've heard all of the excuses. Release the video. Crump said using the Nichols precedent, 20 days between Nichols' death and the subsequent release of all associated footage, authorities have 4 days left. Don't make us sue to get this video, Crump said. Why is it that taxpayers pay all of the money for body cameras, but we can't see the video? As he did at Hudspeth's funeral, best friend Martavion Boone emphasized the lack of criminal activity in both of their lives. Neither were involved with gangs, neither spent any time even flirting with illegal activity, Boone said. Rather, he said, both worked a lot. When Hudspeth wasn't working at his job at Whole Foods, we were always doing something productive, Boone said. We gotta know what happened. It's not right. There's a lot of missing pieces, Boone said. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation declined to provide any updates regarding Hudspeth's case and said the investigation remains active and ongoing. Monday evening, Bonner, who is also a candidate to be the next Memphis mayor, said in an email statement that any information about the investigation, including death notifications, would come through TBI. Bonner also called the press conference a cheap political stunt, saying some of the claims were inciting. It has come to my attention that specific individuals, including attorney Ben Crump, have made inciting claims regarding releasing the video evidence related to this active investigation, Bonner said in the statement. I strongly condemn these cheap political stunts aimed at manipulating public opinion and causing distress for all involved. Withholding evidence, Bonner said, follows the law as set forth by the Tennessee Supreme Court, the legislature, and the courts during active investigations. My primary focus remains on protecting the integrity of this investigation and providing support to my deputy, who is still recovering from serious injuries, he said. Bonner has previously said that MPD set the national standard with its release of body camera and pole camera footage, along with additional information in the beginning of Nichols' investigation. When MPD released the footage, it was also during a TBI investigation. Those statements from a commercial appeal Q&A are also posted to his mayoral campaign website. SCSO did not respond to a follow-up question from the CA asking why he called Crump's assertion to follow the same model a cheap political stunt, and if he plans to follow in MPD's footsteps with a releasing footage. So that declares my Did You Know. It's very informational. I don't have a question. But my final thought for this article is that this is a national problem, right? And we are the National Action Network. So any way we can help, I think we should. Ben Crump is doing everything that he can. He's fighting the case very hard. But while we're here and we have our social media platforms, we can go on social media. We all have cell phones in here. We could all post hashtags on our socials regarding this case to help him get this video out and learn the truth so we could get this predator off the streets and off the sheriff's payroll. Does that sound good? Okay. So that, once again, that declares my Did You Know segment and all of the Did You Know segments. And once again, if y'all really want to help and y'all really into action, and we love Ben Crump, y'all, let's help him out. National Action Network, y'all. So I'm going to have Miss Patrice close us out in prayer. And we're going to wrap this up so everybody can eat. Make sure you say please and thank you when you grab your food. And let's go. Patrice, y'all, clap her up.
Thank you, Giselle. And again, on this date, 7/17, always remember to keep the garner in your prayers. Let us pray. Most gracious and wise God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this very moment. Many people didn't make it to this moment, so we want to tell you thank you. God, we ask you to watch over all of the families who have to stand over coffins and graves and never get answers that they need. But we know, and we've seen it, if they continue to put their hand in your hand, which is unchanging, you will do what you need to do for their families. God, we ask you to bless the food, bless the hands that prepared it, bless the hands that are serving it. We ask you to watch over all our young people as we come upon the summer months. Continue to encompass your angels around them. We ask you, God, to help us to get back to our homes safely as we left this morning. And this we ask nothing but your matchless name from all of your children. And we all said, amen.
Everyone come up here for a picture, please. Group shot. Or you can't eat.